I think crypto is as important of an invention as the birth of the internet.
Crypto capital of the planet.
It can be the tokenization of every financial asset.
That's a powerful idea.
You can make 20x up to 100x on all of your positions right now.
$1.5 million
Let's
by
go.
2030. Let's go.
The most ironic outcome would become that it becomes the global currency.
Holy bags of flaming shit. Bitcoin just hit 100,000 fucking dollars. Wow, just wow. This is Sky and Brodhi with the HODL My Beer Podcast, and wow.
Dude, $100,000. Bitcoin is officially a six-figure asset, baby. Remember, like, just a couple of years ago when people said this would never happen?
I know, right? From being worth less than a penny to hitting 100 grand, man, Bitcoin has had, like, a way more epic glow up than anyone could have ever predicted.
Okay, so anyone tuning in who's like, wait, Bitcoin, what's all this? Just imagine the climb from $0 to even $1 was like this massive, impossible hurdle, right?
Totally.
But now, like, going from 100,000 to 1 million, that feels way more like it's doable now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It feels like all the groundwork has been laid. You know, we've got more established infrastructure now, like serious interest from Wall Street, and everyday people are actually starting to use Bitcoin. So the path to 1 million isn't this crazy impossible idea anymore.
It's wild. Back in 2017, when we first dove into this whole like crypto craziness, we rode the highs and lows, even those brutal crypto winters where everyone thought Bitcoin was gonna like die.
Yeah.
You remember?
I remember thinking, is this it? Is this the end? More than once, to be honest.
Totally. But even back then, like something about it just...
It felt different, right?
Yeah.
But the core principles of Bitcoin, I mean, they never changed. You know, it's still scarce, it's still decentralized, and the network, it just keeps growing. Like that resilience, that's what makes it so fascinating, I think.
Okay. But real talk for a sec.
Yeah.
Did Trump just accidentally become the ultimate Bitcoin hype man? Did his tweet single-handedly pump the price? It's kind of sus.
I mean, the timing is definitely, it's interesting. We've got the halving cycle happening, Wall Street suddenly deciding crypto is cool again, and now, like, a potentially crypto-friendly administration. So all the stars kind of aligned, right?
Okay, hold up. Let's break down this halving cycle thing for anyone who's new here. Like, what is that?
Okay, so picture this. Every 4 years, the rate at which new Bitcoin is created, like, gets chopped in half.
Like cut in half?
Yeah, cut in half. It's baked right into the code. Totally predictable.
Less Bitcoin coming into existence, but more and more people, like, wanting a piece of the action. It's like...
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand, baby. Econ 101 in action. That's crazy.
It is. It is. And historically, like, these halving events have been, like, I don't know, rocket fuel for the price.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's not sugarcoat things, right?
Yeah.
Crypto can be a wild ride, and we've got to, like, keep it real about the risks, especially for anyone jumping in with Bitcoin at $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right. Volatility is part of the game, and new investors need to be prepared for potential dips. I mean, even with those massive gains we've seen, right? There have always been significant drops along the way. Like, just look at the history. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
So basically you're saying diamond hands are still the name of the game in crypto land.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hold on tight, because this roller coaster, this is far from over.
This is just the beginning. We are celebrating Bitcoin hitting $100,000 with our sponsor, PKT. PKT is a media network powered by the people. It's an ecosystem of apps like Apple TV, but built on decentralized infrastructure. That means there are no gatekeepers. It's owned by us. This project is ready to rip to the upside in this bull market. Go grab a bag on Uniswap today. Just go to pkt.cash to learn more. Make sure you join their Telegram. Now back to more Bitcoin. And this time around, though, something feels different. Like, we've got big institutions pouring money in, and people are comparing Bitcoin's market cap to giants like Tesla and Amazon, you know? It's starting to feel like a more mature, more, like, stable market.
Okay, this is where it gets crazy. Bitcoin is now bigger than Tesla, bigger than Meta, bigger than Meta, than silver. It's like this digital underdog just became a heavyweight champ.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing, right? When you like actually start up and think about it. We're talking about a digital asset that was, what, like created just over a decade ago. And now it's rivaling some of the biggest companies and commodities in like the whole world.
It's crazy. Talk about like a serious power move. And remember all those people who told us like Bitcoin is just a fad, a bubble waiting to burst?
Oh, I remember.
I bet they're feeling pretty silly right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a classic example of how like innovation can totally disrupt, the status quo, the people who dismissed Bitcoin early on, the people who just like refuse to adapt or even try to understand it. I mean, they might be missing out on like a huge opportunity.
For real. Okay, let's rewind for a sec to a story that always makes my jaw drop.
Yeah.
You know that guy who bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins back in 2010? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. That's like a legendary tale in the Bitcoin universe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What seemed like a simple transaction back then has become like a symbol, right, of both the incredible potential and the what ifs that come with this whole new world of digital assets.
Seriously, imagine those pizzas. They weren't just any pizzas. They were like the most expensive pizzas in history. If that guy had held onto those Bitcoins, like today, those 10,000 Bitcoins could buy you like a massive chunk of Papa John's itself, like the whole company.
I know, it's insane. It really highlights the exponential growth we've seen in Bitcoin's value, and it makes you wonder what the future holds, like what happens if this trajectory continues. But it's not just about the price, though. It's about the potential for a fundamental shift in how we think about money and value itself.
Yeah, I used to think like Bitcoin was just about making a quick buck, like just buy low, sell high. That's it. But the more I like learned about it, the more I realized it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah, you start to see the bigger picture.
Yeah,
absolutely. Bitcoin, it challenges the traditional financial system in a way that we'd never seen before. It offers an alternative. It's decentralized. It's transparent, and it's potentially more equitable.
Yeah. Okay, but let's be real, right? Like some people still see Bitcoin as this like shady, volatile thing used for buying like illegal stuff online.
Right.
How do we move past that perception?
I mean, that's a misconception it's been hard to shake, for sure. And while it's true that, Bitcoin has been used for illicit activities in the past, I mean, the same can be said for cash, right?
Right.
The reality is blockchain technology actually makes Bitcoin transactions way, way more transparent than traditional, like, financial systems.
Exactly. Every single transaction is like recorded on the blockchain for everyone to see. Yeah. It's incredibly difficult to hide anything. Plus, like we're seeing more and more legitimate businesses accepting Bitcoin as payment these days. Like it's not just the dark web anymore.
It's becoming more mainstream by the day. From major tech companies to your local coffee shop, the adoption is spreading. And with clear regulations coming into play, that mainstream acceptance is only going to accelerate.
Speaking of regulations, let's talk about like the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
The government. We've seen crackdowns on crypto in the past, right? But now we have like a self-proclaimed Bitcoin fan potentially shaping policy. What does that mean for the future of crypto here in the U.S.?
It's a fascinating development for sure. Having, a known crypto advocate chairing the SEC, I mean, that suggests that maybe we might be heading toward a more favorable regulatory environment.
So like less red tape, more innovation.
Yeah, potentially. But government policies, I mean, they can be unpredictable. What really matters is that the regulations are clear, they're consistent, and they actually support like responsible growth in the crypto space.
For sure. And speaking of growth, what about those Bitcoin ETFs that have been like all over the news lately? How are those changing the game?
Yeah. ETFs, they're making it easier for like a much wider range of investors to get involved with Bitcoin. They provide a regulated, familiar way to gain exposure to Bitcoin without having to like directly manage the technical aspects of owning the asset.
So it's like buying a slice of the Bitcoin pie without having to like bake the whole thing yourself.
Exactly. And the fact that like major financial institutions like BlackRock, I mean, they're launching Bitcoin ETFs now. That speaks volumes about the growing legitimacy of this asset class.
It's huge. Okay, let's zoom out for a minute and think about like the big picture, right? If Bitcoin keeps on this trajectory, I mean, what does it mean for the future of finance, like the whole system?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, we could be witnessing the birth of like parallel financial system, one that's decentralized, it's global, and it's powered by technology.
That's a pretty radical concept. But what does it actually mean for our listeners, like for everyday people? What does it actually look like?
It could mean greater financial freedom, more control over your assets and access to financial services that were previously unavailable or just too expensive.
So like no more relying on banks and traditional institutions. That's a pretty empowering thought.
It is. But remember, this transition, it's not going to happen overnight. There will be challenges, there will be bumps in the road, and there will definitely be periods of uncertainty.
Well, that's the nature of like any revolution, right?
Yeah.
But those who like embrace change, who are willing to learn and adapt, I mean, they're the ones who stand to benefit the most.
Absolutely. And that leads us to like the most important question of all, right? What does this mean for your financial future?
We've given you the information, the insights, the historical context, right? Now it's up to you to decide how you want to participate in this evolving, this financial landscape. Do you want to be a spectator? Or do you want to be a player?
The game is changing, folks, and whether you realize it or not, you're already part of it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, like Bitcoin hitting $100,000, the halving cycle, institutional investors, government regulations. It's a lot.
It is. There's a lot to unpack for sure.
So let's say I'm sold, right? Like I'm listening to this and I'm like, all right, I want in on this whole Bitcoin thing. I want to be a part of this. What's my first move?
That's where things get a little tricky.
Yeah.
Because, there's no like magic formula or anything. It all depends on, your risk tolerance, your investment goals, and your overall financial situation.
Right. Because like diving headfirst into Bitcoin at $100,000, that might not be the like smartest play for everyone, especially if you're like new to this whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's crucial to do your research, understand the risks involved, and maybe start with a small investment, like something that you're comfortable with, just to get your feet wet.
And remember, folks, like we're not financial advisors or anything, right? We're just two like crypto enthusiasts.
Yes, sharing our knowledge and our passion.
Exactly. This is about like empowering you,
right?
Not giving specific like investment advice or anything like that.
Absolutely. But we can definitely point you to some great resources. Like if you want to do your own, exploration, websites like CoinDesk and Cointelegraph, they're fantastic for staying up to date on crypto news and analysis. They do a really good job.
Yeah, they're great. And if you want to like dive even deeper into the like tech side of things, there are some awesome like educational platforms out there, like Khan Academy, Coursera, right? They offer courses on blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Like if you really want to like get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. I mean, the key is to be an active learner.
Yeah.
Like don't just blindly follow the hype or the fear.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, develop your own understanding, and make informed decisions.
Knowledge is power, baby. Especially in a space that's like evolving as rapidly as crypto. Like things are changing every day.
Yeah.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Bitcoin at $100,000, it's a crazy world. But I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay, I like it. Hit me.
Imagine a world where financial systems are more inclusive, more transparent and accessible to everyone.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thought.
A world where individuals, they have like more control over their assets and their financial destinies.
That's the promise of Bitcoin, right? And it's a future worth exploring.
Absolutely. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. It's been a wild ride.
It has. Stay curious, keep learning, and who knows, maybe we'll be celebrating Bitcoin at $1 million sooner than we think.
Hope so. See you next time.